Hey, what's up, ladies and guys? All right, on this video, we're going to replace some garage door springs. In my 3-car garage, I actually have 4 garage doors. I have 3 on the front, 1, 2, 3, and I have the 4th on the back. And last month, I noticed, well, my bay 3, what I call bay 3 over there, the garage door spring broke. And so I replaced that one. I did not record that one because, as you can see, I have all my winter projects piled up over here, so it was kind of a cluster trying to get in there just to actually do the repair. So I did that one, and now I got a couple, like a little bit of time today where I'm gonna do bay 2, and then I'm also gonna do bay 1. Both these bays 1 and 2, don't have broken springs on them, but they're probably all the same age, and it's just a matter of time before they break. It's a very easy process to replace them, especially before they break. And you really don't need any tools except a pair of vice grips. It's definitely easier with 2 people. I did bay 3 with my son Austin, but he's not around today, or well, he's at work right now. So I'm gonna attempt to do bay 2 and bay 1 by myself and try to get them done. Now, the first thing I did was I actually inspected the bay 2 one, because this is one that does not have a vehicle in it right now. And the Corvette is over in bay 1. So once I replace the ones in bay 2, which is right behind me, talking about these springs up here. Once I replace these springs, then I'm gonna pull the Corvette out, or if Austin gets home from work, I'll have him pull the Corvette out. And then we're going to replace the ones in bay 1, because I did notice in bay 1, one of the springs is actually compromised. So it's just a matter of time before that one breaks. So they're only $25 to $28 roughly for the pair, because there's 2 springs on each one. There's one on this side and there's one on that side. So I got them at Home Depot, and I'll show you the box and I'll show you how to figure out what size spring to get, what strength spring, because they go by the weight of the garage door. And if it's not a new garage door, you already have springs up there. Hopefully you can tell by looking at the spring. Otherwise, if you could buy them, put them on, see if the garage door comes down easy, or if it comes down hard, or if it won't come down at all and you actually have to pull it down. It should pretty much neutralize. You should be able to pull that garage door down without using the garage door opener by hand and let go, and the garage door should pretty much stay neutral wherever you let it go. So these garage doors, I do believe, have white springs on them. I know that one had a white spring on it, so that's why I grabbed the white spring, and I'm going to show you the old ones on that. Actually, I have them on the floor next to the box of the new springs for this bay 2. All right, enough chatting, and I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna show you how to do this. And it is winter. There's a lot of snow outside, so that's why I'm all bundled up. Obviously, I'm not gonna heat the garage because you have to do this with the garage doors open. The only tool you really definitely need is a pair of vice grips, and that's more for safety. But you should have a pair of vice grips and maybe a screwdriver or a little pry bar handy just in case. And if I think I need anything else while I'm replacing it, you'll see it in a video. And a stool. You're definitely gonna need a ladder, or a small ladder, or a small stool, because you got to get up to that top up there, depending on how high your garage is. All right, so let me show you the broken one I took off of bay 3, and I'm gonna show you the new one that the new springs I'm gonna put on bay 2. So that one was the hardest one to put on because I have that shelf up there. But you can see that's a new spring, and this one's a new spring. And the first thing you're gonna notice, well, you might not the first thing, but you're gonna see the white end up there. Here is bay 2. This is the one that we're gonna be working on now. And you can't really see any paint, any markings on these springs. The ends should be painted. So let me show you the broken one, that it was actually that far one that I have out here on the ground. Here is the spring. You can see it's compromised here, but this is actually what broke. So that broke off, and here's a new one. And you can see there's white paint here. in white paint there. Now, you would think that's paint from, you know, painting the garage or whatever, but it's actually not. That's how they mark these garage door springs. You see the new one has a white on it. Come here, and there is how you figure out what size garage door springs you need. So these are 110 pound springs. And that seems to work. I bought the blue ones, 140 pound one first, because obviously I couldn't see this because these were up in the air, up there. And I couldn't see any of the white paint on them. So I took a gamble and I bought the 140 pound without really paying attention. And those are made for the double wide door. So obviously those were wrong. So I have them over on the shelf there on the table. Those are going to go on my 2-car garage. The 2-car garage has a one big double door. Okay, so this is the garage door, the new box right here. And let me open it up and let me show you what's in the box. So the first thing you're going to notice is inside these springs, there's a new, I think it's called a safety cable. This safety cable prevents, like when this broke, these are under a lot of tension. And when this broke, if it did not have a safety cable running through the middle of it, this would have shot across the garage. If somebody was in here, they could have gotten hurt, or it could have damaged the vehicle. So it's literally a all right, so once you open up your package and you get the cables out, or the springs out, you're gonna notice there's a steel cable. This is like a safety cable, and it's a replacement one, so in case you need it, you could replace it. And it's stuffed inside the spring. So just pull those out. And that's so when you inspect the safety cables that you have up there now, if they need to be replaced, you already have them. I'm sure you're supposed to replace them, or they recommend replacing them anytime you replace the springs, because the springs last probably 15, 20 years. You got to realize when the garage doors are closed, which are closed 99% of the time, they're at extension. So they're stretched the whole time. When the garage doors are open, that's when they're relaxed like this. So inspect the whole garage door system. Your cables, your track, your safety cables, your pulleys, and make sure everything's good. But like I said, when you buy the springs, this particular brand, they include the new safety cable. So you have it in case you need it. And then you're gonna notice the ends are painted right there. And they're like 25.5 inches long. I think that's the standard size for these type of springs. And what they do is when they make them, they just bend off the 2 end loops on the ends. And that's actually the weak spot because it broke. But if you look at this one, which is the one that broke, you can see it has a bend in it right there. Well, that's another weak spot. So that, I do believe Bay 1 has a couple bent flaws in the spring over on that far steel cable, or on that far spring on that side also. That's why I'm going to replace that one. If you can see, let's see how, they're about the same. Yeah, they're about the same stiffness wise. So it's really a very simple, but it's like a keychain. What you do is, these are painted like they're dipped in paint. So you got to take a screwdriver and pop this spring apart, because you got to screw it on or twist it on up there like you do a key. Putting a key on a keychain, you just spiral it on right there. So to make it easier, when you're up there, break this free, and kind of stick a screwdriver through that, just so it's actually at that end, I do believe you have to do. Yeah, it's at the pulley end, not at the mount on the roof. I'll show you up there. But you want to do that on one end. The other end just grabs onto a hook. And you have to do this with the garage door open. So for safety purposes, when the garage door is all the way open, disconnect your garage door opener by pulling your release handle and open up the garage door and put a vice grip on the flat part of the track so the door cannot fall while you're working on it, because the doors are really heavy. So that's pretty much all that's in the box. So let's get up there and replace the spring. Now this is super cheap and easy, $25, $30, and you can do it yourself. Get your car out of here so you don't hurt your car and you have plenty of access. You don't really have to call a garage door company to replace these springs unless you really want to, or you don't have access to a ladder. But it's not hard at all. That's the whole point of me doing this. I'm not going to pay someone to put a $25 springs on. All right, well, let's go up there and inspect what we have. So the first thing I'm going to do when I come up on here is inspect this steel cable, the pulley, and this is the cable that goes on the pulley itself, and it comes down around here and it grabs onto the garage door down at the bottom. That is the cable, see it right there? That's the cable that is pulling right there. It's pulling the garage door up. The spring is just is a counterweight for the door. There's a cable inside the spring. See how it's loose right here? That goes through here, through the spring, and that's just what the safety cable is. So if and when this spring breaks, like the other one did, the cable's gonna hold the spring, contain the explosion of the spring, and the spring's not gonna go flying around the garage and break your windshield, scratch the car. So the first thing we have to do, I already inspected it. I'm gonna hopefully reuse those safety cables that are in there to make it even easier. You can see this end here is, let me get you off a wide angle. Okay, you can see this end here is just on a hook, and the hook is turned up to the ceiling. So I'm gonna have to take a screwdriver and turn this so I can get this off. This just hooks onto it, and I gotta do the safety spring at the same time. And this is where the other one broke. See how it's just a double loop with a spring? So let me show you how the other end down there is connected. I gotta get down and bring it over there. This is the working end of everything. Oh, and one thing I said is, I want to tell you, if you replace one spring, you replace them both sides. So here's the other end of this spring. And this is the end that you see is spun on here like a keychain. You could always take this bolt out and undo the pulley and all that and slide it through that way. But it's a lot easier, personally. I'd rather not undo any of this unless I'm replacing that steel cable. And then you're just gonna spiral it on the pulley right there. You want to make sure you keep this orientation so that the cables aren't twisted. Your safety cable is going through the middle, and that just dead ends here. There you go. See how it just dead ends? So that's just, like I said, that's just a safety. So that way your explosion when this breaks doesn't damage your car or a person. Now this steel cable is under tension. This steel cable, the one that's on the pulley, when the garage door is closed, this is under tension. And this is your adjustment right here. So if I need to add more tension to the spring, when the garage door is open, I would adjust this cable right here to get to it. Now, in order for me to take this part off, once the garage door is up, there shouldn't be any tension on this spring right here. So what I will do is I will take this S-hook and I will just simply lift this S-hook out of this hole right there. And that's how this spring is gonna come down to make me, to allow me to access it, to replace it. I'm showing you that because when the garage door is up, it's gonna be blocking most of your view. Unless I could try to get the camera on this side, but my table's in the way, so we'll see. All right, so the first thing I gotta do is open up the garage door. And I put vice grips on the track for safety purposes. I did not put it on this side because otherwise you would bend this. I put it on the flat side, which is the outside edge. So that way this garage door cannot slide down, come crashing down and get damaged. The second thing I did was I made sure all the tension, well, I pulled my release. This is a release. So I'm released off the garage door opener. And that's just in case the button goes. And then the second thing I did was I went to the spring, and you can see there's no tension on that spring. And I did the same thing on the other side. So the next step is I am going to lift up that S-hook. And when I lift up that S-hook, that's gonna completely release this side. And it's gonna make it accessible. It's gonna allow me to come back to this side and remove that end of the spring. So let's do that. Actually, I might not have to. Let me see if there's enough slack in this where I could just turn that and just slide that off in the safety cable right there. So you have a small transmission leak back here, and this is out engine oil, which is the rear of the engine. So, all right. Thank you. So it was actually perfect time, and Austin came home, so while he was here I had him pull the Corvette out. So here's that safety cable. You see how it's going through the old spring, and here's the cable for the pulley. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the safety cable out of the new spring, of the old spring, like that. And here is where I was telling you it's like a keychain. So basically what you have to do is you have to unwind it. You can wear gloves if you want to. It should have some type of grease on it. But you can see, well, hopefully you can see, all I'm doing is unscrewing it, just like a key on a keychain. The spring's off. Now I'm gonna take the new spring, and if you notice, I jammed a screwdriver in there, because if you ever try to put a key on a keychain, the hardest part is getting it started. Well, I broke that paint seal so I can get it separated like that. And now all I'm gonna do is get that started, take my screwdriver out, and I'm going to, it's a lot harder on the new ones, twist it in, and now the spring is on. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure nothing is twisted, like the steel cables. Put the cable back on the pulley. Take the safety cable that I inspected and is in good condition. I'm going to slide it through the new spring. And out it comes. Pull it tight. And we are ready to put this spring back up on that J hook that's up there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the safety cable up there and hope I can get that going. All right, safety cable's up there. So if your spring breaks, this is what it's going to look like. This is just, that's why it's so it doesn't fall down. And now what I have to do is I have to hook the spring onto that loop again. First thing you gotta do is you gotta make sure you're not twisted on the cables. So it'll be like that. And it's that easy. Let's see, now I gotta turn this back. Screwdriver's too long. There we go, a shorter one. Double check my steel cable all the way down, and we're good. Now, if I wanted more tension on this spring in the up position, that's what that adjustment, not that end, is for. On the cable with the pulleys on it. Now I'm gonna go down that end and make sure that pulley did not come, the cable did not come off that pulley. This one is good. And it did, so now I gotta put that on. with the Corvette out of bay 1 and no car in bay 2, I could get on this side and I can show you. Safety cable is connected. Pad eye, or the hook is turned up. Come down this end. The cable is on the pulley. Safety cable is going through this new spring. There's no twists or kinks in the steel cable. And this is a pulley. That's the other end of the steel cable that connected to the bottom of the door. That one is the one that fell off, obviously, so I just slid it back on there. And there's plenty of tension on the spring already in the upward position for now. So now the next thing is I'm gonna go do that side, do the exact same process. So you can see the safety cable is loose on this one. So I'm gonna see if I can tighten it up at that end. Actually, let's turn this up first. All right, so now let's go adjust this. See, and the safety cable is just tied. It's nothing fancy. Left side should be done. Got the safety cable in the new spring, got the new spring hooked. Cable is around the pulley. The safety cable is kind of loose, but the way they have it is it's just tied right here. It's just like a little knot. So that's, I can't get it any tighter. But this here is your garage door, and this is where you make your adjustment if you need more tension on that spring for whatever reason. So the next step now is to take the vice grips off of the track right here and try the garage. As you can see, I was able to just let go of the garage door and it stopped wherever I had it. So that means the springs are pretty much adjusted about right. You don't want it to still come down and you don't want it to go back up. When I first did this with the blue springs on it, I let go and the garage went back up, or it was starting, yeah. So it was fighting me. I was pulling it down, but it wanted to go back up. This is how you want it. It kind of neutralizes it. I think these are what, 110 or 120? These are 110 pound springs for a single door. All right, so I'm just gonna check. That's in its pulley. That's in its pulley. This spring looks good. That one's in its pulley right there. That's in its pulley. Spring looks good. Well, let's hit the garage door. The cradle's coming, it's gonna grab the door, and we're gonna open it up with the garage door button now. So now it should go up, no problem with that. All right, that's 2 garage doors down. I'm not gonna do the back one. I'm gonna do this one because that's the one that has the bad spring on it, that has the flaws in it. So I'm gonna switch over to bay 1. The lighting is, I don't have lights like this over in bay 1, so the lighting's not gonna be that good, but I'm gonna bang out the bay 1 springs real quick while I'm all set up for it, while there's no vehicle in there. Got another box. And I'm gonna save these springs. You never know what you're gonna need, or these cables. You never know what you're gonna need cables for. So I'm gonna switch over to bay 1 and I'll show you those, what it looks like over there with the failed spring that's up there. It's about ready, it looks like it's about ready to break. Now you see when I let go, the garage door wants to close. I can't just let go. That's what we're trying to fix. That right there. Look, that one's really bad. Yeah, this one's really bad too. Let me show you how bad they really are. Let me see if I plug this in. There we go. That works. Here is facing the garage door, the right-hand side spring. And you can see how it's all different spaces, how it's kind of like stretched out. Good thing I had the roof replaced. It looked like I had a roof leak there. See how it's stretched out right there and there? Well, here, let's look at this side. This one's real bad. There, all of that. There, all of that. There. So these are the failures. This is why the garage door is not staying up or staying where I put it. So once again, it's the exact same setup. I'm gonna double check my safety cable, make sure my existing safety cable is in usable condition and it looks it. Come on this side, pulley's good, that steel cable all the way down looks good. Safety cable's going through there. Looks like it's not frayed or anything like that, so hopefully I'll be able to use that one. We're gonna start with this one. So once again, first thing we do is we open the garage door, put vice grips on it so it doesn't fall. So what I'm gonna do on this one, guys, is I'm just gonna get both springs replaced. I'm not gonna talk during it or anything like that, just to show how fast you can actually do it safely. We hope I don't pinch a finger. So I'm just gonna let the camera roll, pick a side, and start replacing the springs. All right, so this one's fixed. Bay 1 is fixed. Bay 2 is fixed. Bay 3 is fixed. Garage door number 4, I still got to do. And the 2-car garage over there I got to do. But, get you all dizzy spinning around. This is the one that broke right there. These are Bay 2. And these are Bay 3. Now, one thing I noticed when I took Bay 3, Bay 3, Bay 2, Bay 1. One thing I noticed when I took Bay 1 off, and these are the ones that are all stretched out real bad. What color are those? Those are green. So I think this brand doesn't even have green on there. So I have a feeling these were super underrated, and that's why they stretched out so bad. Luckily, they didn't break, and I ended up having to cut these off just because they were so jammed inside like that. I wasn't going to sit there all day and mess with it. It was jammed in there like that. So, work smarter, not harder. I took my die grinder, my cutter, and I just cut the loops off. So, all 3 of these, my main garage doors are done. It's a super easy fix. I might speed this up a little bit, this one here, just a little bit, so you're not sitting there watching it for, I think it was like 5 minutes, however long it took. But you can go, just see with the shelf in the way, you couldn't really see anything. But there's a brand new springs right there, good safety cable. No twists and ties in any of the steel cables. Same with on this side. And same with the main bay, Bay 2. And obviously Bay 3 I did not show. All right, guys. Here are 6 of the garage door springs going in the scrap metal pile. You can see how that one is all expanded. Those are all Bay 1. Bay 2 and Bay 3 are right here. These were green. These were originally the white tension. These were green, and this is the garage door. The springs that were stretched out the most and the most likely to fail, even though these failed. These are definitely newer than these. These are covered in rust. These are not. So these were definitely replaced, but they were replaced with the wrong ones. So quick, easy. If you only have one garage door, it's going to take you 15 minutes tops. Only tools you need is a flathead screwdriver to pop open the end so you can get it spooled on there nice and easy, and a set of vice grips just for safety so the garage door doesn't fall down when you're unexpecting it when you're working on it. So these are going to go to the scrap metal pile, and we're good to go. I will do the 2-car garage another day. Yeah, I don't feel like pulling a car out of there. And we're good to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. Feel free to leave a comment. These are actually hard to hold on to because I keep moving around. Feel free to leave a comment and just keep the language kid friendly because I like to keep it a kid friendly channel. See you on the next video, guys.